Jiri Prochazka explains the tapping during the Teixeira fight at UFC 275. Anyone watching that fight was like, bro, what? No? Teixeira just won the fight, and then they're like, oh, he's literally just patting Gilbert Teixeira on the back mid-fight. Like what? Who does that, man? Who does that? But Mark Goddard right here says, lol, Jiri was actually congratulating and encouraging his opponent. He done it a couple of times. I told him it's a risky game. I might stop it. I don't know if you're tapping due to strikes, due to submission. Maybe your arm popped out. I don't blame Mark Goddard, to be honest with you. But it's very clear what you're doing is intending. Let's celebrate the incredible feat from both gentlemen. What is he doing, man? What are you doing? There's no way in an MMA fight that I'm going to tap my opponent, especially on the freaking ground, man. What? No, nobody does that, man. Why would you tap them? But he says it right here. I did that because I tried to push him, to give him, give me more, to show me more, you know. That's what I like in this fight, because I try to make him give me more action. I like to wait for action, some techniques, maybe reverse it when he give me action. I don't know, man. Jiri, I mean, maybe it's a strategy. You're saying that it's a strategy, but it's a risky ass strategy. Like, you're tapping him, bro. Like, you can talk to him. You can say, go Jiri, you can't, or go Gilbert Teixeira. You can't finish me. You can't land any shots. You can't submit me. You could say stuff. You can be like Kevin Holland on the ground or something like that. But you can't freaking tap your opponent, man. If this was like any other ref, I mean, if you have the wrong referee, one of the greatest fights of the year is over. It is absolutely over because of that. I mean, come on, Jiri, don't do it in your next fight, please. I really don't want to see the first ever UFC fight get canceled due to Alistair Overeem. I clearly felt a tap. I don't want that to happen. But what do you guys think about freaking Jiri Prochazka tapping against Gilbert Teixeira? I mean, what in the world is this man doing? I'm going to be honest. What is he doing in there? But, yeah, what do you guys think about that? Valentina Shevchenko shares her theory on why Taila Santos performed so well at UFC 275, nearly actually beating one of the greatest female fighters of all time by a decision. Valentina Shevchenko was given a real run for her money at UFC 275, and now Shevchenko has a little bit of a thought on the reason that she was so close to actually beating her. Speaking in a post-fight press conference, Shevchenko reflected on the contest, and she said it surprised her about her counterpart's performance right there. She noted that Santos' weight was certainly a factor inside of the octagon. So she's saying that the main reason that Taila Santos was able to land the takedowns, to get her down, grapple her, take her down, go for the rear nakeds and things like that, was all because Taila Santos is much bigger than Valentina Shevchenko, which is an interesting thing to say for Valentina, as she's been contemplating a return to the UFC bantamweight division. So if size was a factor in the flyweight division, then why is she talking about moving to the bantamweight division? Now, because coming into this fight into the arena, my weight was 130 pounds. For anyone that doesn't know, that's only 5 pounds gained after her weigh-in. Whereas for me, example, when I used to wrestle, earlier this year, I would weigh in at 120 pounds exactly, and then by the time I was actually wrestling, I'd be 132, 133, and then by the end of the day, I'd be like 138, something like that. She only gained 5 pounds after weighing in and actually having the fight. So what do you guys think about that one? What do you guys think about Shevchenko not being able to gain enough weight back after she ended up like weighing in for UFC 275, because that is a legitimate reason to say someone has an advantage. Is if you are 130 pounds on fight night, that's a little iffy right there. But what do you guys think about that one in the women's flyweight division? PFL 4 results and highlights. Martinez actually beats Clay Collard by a very close split decision. There was way too many close fights on this card. Now, on the first one right here, I mean, we got Stevens just pressuring forward, landing some some big shots and things like that. But, I mean, it was really, really close. Round 1 went Stevens, round 2 went Stevens, barely, and then round 3 went Myles Price. It was way too close of a fight for Stevens to be a 9-1 favorite. Then, in Collar versus Martinez, Clay Collard won the first round easily, outstriking him and things like that. Round 2, Collard goes out there, outstriking him a little bit, rocks him on the feet, knocks him down, almost finishes him, and then Martinez gets the back of Collard, almost finishes him with the rear naked. So round 2 was really, really close. Round 3 definitely went Alex Martinez, but round 2 was for Clay Collard, in my opinion. I think it was a little bit of a robbery on that one, but it was a good fight overall, as he was so close to knocking him out, and Martinez was so close to getting that submission in the second round. He had a guillotine in the third right here. I don't know if it's going to show in the rear naked. It should right here. Look right here. He has this rear naked in tight. It might be a little bit choppy for you guys, but he has this rear naked in tight right here. Collard is you can see his face is grimacing. And he's just trying to survive at this point. And somehow right here, oh my gosh, gets out, sticks the tongue out. So it was a good main event, very, very good fight. But right here, Martinez was awarded as the victor by split decision. We also had Jos Silveira, the LFA double champion, get a first-round knockout. Nate Jennerman with a submission. Rob Wilkinson, who lost to Israel Adesanya in the UFC, actually win the fight by knockout yet again. He's the number 1 seed in the PFL right now. Omar Akhmedov, who beat Marvin Vettori, who's in the UFC, got a second-round submission. Nathan Schultz with a decision. And Emiliano Sordi, the former double champion, gets knocked out in the first round. And of course, Martinez, Carlos Jr. with the decision win, Oliver Aubin-Mercier with the decision win, and Jeremy Stevens with the decision win. So the main card was just filled with a lot of UFC veterans going to a decision. But it was a good card. What do you guys think about PFL Week 4? And who do you think are the champions for the lightweight and light heavyweight divisions? Chael Sonnen gives Glover Teixeira a lesson on how to force a rematch. As we all know, Chael Sonnen is very good with his words. He's very good at kind of turning over the UFC fan base to give him what he wants, and now he's trying to give some of that advice to Glover Teixeira right here, a guy that just had one of the most competitive back and forth, exciting up and down light heavyweight fights and title fights in UFC history, and it was a banger. It was fight of the year in my opinion. It was one of the greatest fights of all time. But the UFC is probably not going to give Glover Teixeira a rematch anyway. And Chael Sonnen is trying to give him some advice right here. So, Glover Teixeira just puts out the words, rematch at Jiri BJP, Dana White at the UFC. And in a recent video on his YouTube channel, Chael Sonnen has some words. A little win has been taken out of the sale of the idea that Glover Teixeira going to be given an immediate rematch, suggested Sonnen. The most that Glover has done to get himself an immediate rematch is he tweeted out the word rematch with a question mark. That is the most that he's done. I must tell you, it's a rematch claim. Not going to get stronger as days go by. That is not how rematches work. Everything is hot right now. You have exactly 48 hours after the fight. Exactly. Sunday is a travel day. There's no media covering things. Then on Monday become a big media day for MMA, and they're not going forward. They're still going back. When Tuesday rolls around, the news cycle for what's next in full effect. So you only have 2 days to really get this done. Added Sonnen. You've got to build that fire. It's not the case here. It's just not. Glover asking for the rematch. That's not Glover's strongest point. I would have to agree. It was a horrible way for Glover Teixeira to kind of petition for the rematch. And you already got Jan Blachowicz petitioning even better by saying, Jiri, let's do this. The battle for Europe, the biggest fight in the continent's history. He's really trying to push for this, for the fight, and for them to have the actual title championship in Europe. Glover Teixeira is really not doing that. He's just saying rematch, question mark. And I definitely agree with Chael Sonnen. In the first 2 days, if I were Glover Teixeira, I am signing up for every single interview. Ariel Helwani, ESPN, Bird MMA, I don't even care. Sign up for every single interview you can, and in every single interview, say, I will absolutely smash Jiri Prochazka in a rematch. I want the rematch. Set a date, say UFC 271, Abu Dhabi. make it. Just you got to put something more than rematch. I mean, I definitely agree with the greatest of all time, Chael Sonnen in this case, but man, go over Teixeira. Man, you gotta put in some more work on your rematch game, like Chael Sonnen says. UFC welterweight contender Gilbert Burns makes a major career announcement, and I'm just gonna give it to you. I just signed a new multi-fight deal with the UFC. Thank you, Dana White. Thank you, Sean Shelby, for taking care of me. Just waiting for the next opponent. A lot of people talking blank about the UFC. You guys can read it. But without the UFC and Dana, I would not be here. Thanks, my brother Ali Abdelaziz. He is the best. No, he just came off a 3-round war with Khamzat Chimaev. Before that, losing to Usman, beating Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I mean, all of these guys. And in the UFC welterweight rankings, he's at number 4. Just lost to number 3. Kind of has to go down in the rankings. And I'm assuming Jorge Masvidal is going to be next, and I think that would be a very, very good fight. Gilbert Burns signing a new deal in the welterweight division. Who do you guys think his next opponent will be? UFC Fight Night Kattar versus Emmett weigh-in results. One fighter did actually miss weight, and that was Tony Kelly, who came in 1.5 pounds over the division's limit against Adrian Yanez. And there's a few other fighters on this card didn't really have the best weigh-ins, and those fighters are going to be, I would say, a little bit of Donald Cerrone. Wasn't really looking too terribly good on those weigh-ins. Tony Kelly obviously did not have a good weigh-in. Ricardo Ramos had a very, very tough one as well. Jeremiah Wells had a pretty tough one. Cody Stamann had a really, really tough one. He did not look at all good on the scales. And then Deron Winn is probably the second worst on the scales. He went up there, his eyes like twitching and stuff like that. He's weighing in. It looked like he was about to pass out. I'm going to be quite honest with you. So Deron Winn, Cody Stamann, a little bit of Ricardo Ramos, Jeremiah Wells, obviously Tony Kelly. And then I would say the last person would be Donald Cerrone. All of those fighters, in my opinion, did not have the real, best case scenario on the weigh-ins today. So do with that what you will, but you can look up the weigh-ins for yourself and just see what they look like on the scales. I encourage you to look up what Deron Winn looked like on the scales, because he looked a little on the scales there. So what do you guys think about the weigh-ins results? If you haven't watched them, go watch them. Then guess watch, and we'll get into the next story right here. Tatiana Suarez says, I cannot imagine fighting like Thug Rose Namajunas did in that title fight. And I agree, but I can also disagree, because Tatiana Suarez has a style where if she were to fight Rose Namajunas, I'm going to be honest, it'd probably be the exact same thing as Carla Esparza versus Rose Namajunas. A very, very close striking match with Rose kind of just running away the whole time. But again, I don't even want to hear this anymore. I don't want to hear and think about the Namajunas Esparza fight. It's just, it kind of causes me to gag a little bit every time I hear the words Carla Esparza versus Rose Namajunas. So hopefully what you're saying, Tatiana Suarez, is correct, that you're not going to be fighting like Namajunas did in that title fight. I really hope so, but what do you guys think? Esparza versus Namajunas. Alright, guys, so last story of the day is going to be Josh Emmett's Gyno. That's legit our last story of the day. And right here, we'll get a look of it. Yep. There you go. That's what everyone wanted to see. I got tens of hundreds of comments on Instagram and on YouTube about Josh Emmett having Gyno. You can clearly see that the left side, like the left when you're looking at Josh Emmett right now, is more pushed up a little bit, whereas the one on the right with the like nipple hanging down, you can clearly see this man has Gyno. And it doesn't look like a super, super severe case of Gyno. Like, it doesn't look like freaking Israel Adesanya's one when he fought Robert Whittaker. It's not that bad, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not horrible, but it's interesting. It is very, very interesting, because there's always that thing where when a UFC fighter comes into the UFC weigh-ins, comes into the UFC fight, and they got Gyno, everyone's like, roids! Like, that's not the only thing that causes Gyno, but What do you guys think? Is it roids? Is it just something random happening with Josh Emmett? Like, what do you guys think? Josh Emmett, is he on the juice? Is that why he's so powerful? I don't know. We shall see. Put your thoughts down below. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Let's go. That is all we got for today's MMA news. We have, of course, right here, Josh Emmett's Gyno. That's our main story of the day. We also have the PFL results. Main event was a robbery. We got Shevchenko saying that Santos, the only reason the fight was that close is because Santos was heavily oversized compared to Shevchenko in the fight. She said that she was only 130 pounds going into the fight night, which is insane. We have also, another person calling out Jake Paul, always. We have Chael Sonnen giving Glover Teixeira some advice on how to get a rematch with Jiri Prochazka. We have Gilbert Burns getting another fight extension in the UFC, getting more fights added to his contract, and hopefully we get another announcement, which in my opinion, I really hope is going to be Jorge Masvidal versus Gilbert Burns at like a co-main event of a pay-per-view, 3 rounds, or maybe even make it a 5-round main event. And then we got the weigh-ins results as well. We have Suarez talking about the Namajunas Carla Esparza fight. That one was just absolute dog doo-doo. And then we got Jiri Prochazka literally tapping Glover Teixeira mid-freaking fight. What are you doing, Glover? What are you doing, Jiri Prochazka? I'm going to say it one last time. What are you doing? Stop it. Get some help. Michael Jordan. Gosh. But that's all we got for today's MMA news. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe, do all that good stuff, notifications and all. We post one of these news videos pretty much every single day, as long as there is news, which there usually is. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go.